The Toronto Maple Leafs are making a huge mistake by signing Max Pacioretty to a PTO with intent to bring him on full-time for the season. For this to happen, there has to be a huge trade that will have major implications on the Toronto Maple Leafs lineup heading into this season. I'm going to break all that down for you guys coming up on this episode of Hat-Trick HQ. But before we get into it, we got to say that 70% of you guys watching these videos aren't subscribed to the channel. So if you're not subscribed, you want to keep up to date on everything that's happening going into the 24-25 season, make sure to hit that subscribe button. But that said, we got to jump right into the main topic of the video today, which is the Leafs are making a big mistake. And yes, this has been something that's been rumored over this past week, was Max Pacioretty being signed to Toronto on a player tryout contract. But now we got a report from Chris Johnston where this is actually came into fruition and is true now. He says Max Pacioretty will attend Leafs training camp on a player tryout contract, but they expect him to sign a contract before the season. So it's looking like they got him in a tryout, but according to Chris Johnson, it's looking like the Leafs are going to bring this guy on full-time for this season. And I think this is a huge mistake by the Toronto Maple Leafs. I mean, they just signed Nick Robertson yesterday to a one-year contract worth $800K and promised him minutes, promised him to be a key part of this Toronto Maple Leafs team going forward. And now the very next day, you're bringing in a veteran, Max Pacioretty, who could easily fill his spot. It just doesn't make any sense to me, and I don't know where you would fit him into this lineup. I mean, if we just take a look at the players that they do have here, I mean, they say he's in training camp with a strong chance of getting minutes on the left wing, but you got names there like Nyes, McMahon, Robertson, and also Pontus Holmberg, Connor Dewar, and potentially others in the mix to crack this lineup on the left wing. All younger guys than Max Pacioretty. And if we just look at their depth chart here, you can pause the video. I'm not going to leave it up for very long, but all those names I did mention are here on this list, and I wanted to know from you guys, where do you think Max Pacioretty fits into this lineup? Because right now, I don't see anywhere that Max Pacioretty can fit in this lineup. It just doesn't make sense bringing in a 35, 36-year-old Max Pacioretty who has been riddled with injuries over these past couple of years. Don't get me wrong, I'm a huge Patches fan. I love Max Pacioretty. He was the captain of my Montreal Canadiens for a very long time, but he is 35 now. And one thing that I know you guys down below in the comment section do not like are bringing in these older, slower, ex-star players, and this is what you're bringing in Max Pacioretty. In my opinion, you're better off bringing in a 36-year-old Phil the Thrill, Phil Kessel, rather than bringing in Max Pacioretty. It doesn't make any sense to me. I think it's going to come out to be a massive mistake for the Toronto Maple Leafs when this season is over. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, if we just look since 2020, what Max Pacioretty has done in the NHL, he hasn't played over 48 games in the past 4 seasons. He has been out with injury over these last couple of years. I mean, we got into 48 games, then 39, then just 5 in 22-23, and then last year with 47. And if we look at those point totals, he had 23 last year. He had 51 in 2021. He was 30 at that point in time, or 31, so now he is 4 years older, so you got to take that into account. But over these last couple of seasons, 23 points, 4 goals, 19 assists. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. You could have got a lot better player, I think, than Max Pacioretty here in this instance. It just doesn't make sense at all. It really doesn't, because you have all these young guys. Dare I bring it up again? Like Bobby McMahon, who you just signed last year because he had a breakout year for you on that left side, playing left wing. You have Nick Robertson, a guy who you just promised the world to. Promised, we're not going to treat you like Sheldon Keefe did. And you also have Connor Dewar, a guy who came in last year at the trade deadline and played phenomenal for your team. So where are you putting Max Pacioretty in this team. It just doesn't make sense. You want to give these young guys that opportunity because they're going to have that extra edge. They're going to have that extra drive. Yes, they may lack the experience that a guy like Max Pacioretty brings to your team and the playoff experience that he brings to your team, but he just doesn't have that speed and doesn't have that, what the young guys have, that drive to be a good NHL player. Yes, I'm sure Max Pacioretty still wants to be playing good. He still wants to be a player. It's the reason he's still playing. It's the reason he's signed a player tryout contract. But it seems like we're getting to the point in Patch's career where his body, is failing him, which is sad to see because, like I said, I'm a huge Pacioretty fan. I love this guy. I think he's a fantastic player, but he's not the same player he was in Montreal. He hasn't been that same player. Maybe you could argue those couple years in Vegas he was that guy, but to me, ever since he's left Montreal, he hasn't been the Patches that we all fell in love with in Montreal. And I don't think this is what the Pacioretty you're going to get in Toronto. Yes, I know a lot of fans are excited about this because it is a big name. It is Max Pacioretty. He is a former captain. But, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't add to the team as much as even a Phil the Thrill, like I mentioned. He would add a lot more to this team. I mean, even he hasn't played since I think it was the 22-23 season. That was last season. He hasn't played since the 21-22 season, I don't believe. You can fact check me if I'm wrong down below in the comment section. But even then, he was putting up like 30 points and being a solid contributor by still being the Iron Man in Phil Kessel. So it just doesn't make sense for them to bring in Max Pacioretty, who it's a very risky signing by him dealing with these injuries over these past couple of years. If he stays healthy and he can get through this injury, yes, it could turn out to be a good signing, but I just can't see that happening. I think you're better off giving these younger guys the opportunity to prove themselves to you as a new coach in Craig Berube, to prove themselves to the organization that they belong in the future of the Toronto Maple Leafs. And plus, if we just bring it up here, plus, to even bring Pacioretty in on a full standard contract, you need to make a trade. Because right now, according to Puckpedia, the Toronto Maple Leafs only have $400,000 in cap space. And that's with them potentially signing Pacioretty and potentially signing Jani Hakanpää. So they're going to have to make a trade to even make this happen. And do you want to trade somebody out to bring these two beat up guys into your organization? I don't know. It just doesn't. Like I've said it a million times in this video, but it makes no sense. It doesn't make sense at all. So why they would want to move out people to bring in two guys who have been battling injuries over these past couple of years? Yes, you could make say, yeah, we'll get rid of David Kampf. I mean, he's a $2.3 million contract, but you get rid of him, you bring these two guys in. It doesn't make sense because, Pacioretty, he's going to have to play on the left and you're going to have to move maybe a Pontus Holmberg to that fourth line center. I think that would work out. We've seen that last year at points, but it doesn't make sense for you to spend that $2.3 million that you're getting from David Kampf on two guys who you're uncertain are going to get through the full 82 for your team. So I don't know. I think it's a huge mistake by the Toronto Maple Leafs, and I really don't like this move. I love Patches. I hope it works out for Toronto because I want to see them succeed. Even though I'm a Montreal fan, they deserve it. They have the team to do it. But by neglecting your younger players, the guys who have a lot more ahead of them in terms of their future within the league, you want to give those guys that opportunity, especially Nick Robertson, a guy you promised just yesterday to give minutes to. But I want to hear your guys' thoughts down below in the comment section. What do you think about this? Do you agree with me? Do you think it's a huge mistake? Or do you actually like it? I love to hear your guys' back and forth banter down below in the comment section. Tell me if I'm wrong. I want to hear if I'm wrong down below in that comment section. But we're going to get everybody's favorite topic here, which is comment of the day. And the comment of the day today goes to John. John says Nick Robertson will help the Leafs win a Stanley Cup. He will start scoring a lot more goals in the up-and-coming season. Go, Leafs, go. And John, buddy, I have to agree with you. I've been a big Nick Robertson guy here on the channel. Even when they were saying about trading him, I said, you're not going to get the value back. But now they got him signed back. He's got a little bit of a chip on his shoulder, looking to be a great player for this Toronto Maple Leafs organization. I think this guy's going to have a standout year here for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and I can't wait for the season to start to see that happen. Appreciate comment, John. Appreciate you showing your support here on the channel. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure down below, hit that like button. It helps push these videos out to all Leafs fans on YouTube. Also, hit that subscribe button. We're on the road for 5,000 subscribers. If you're not subscribed already, you want to stay up to date on everything going into this season, make sure to hit that subscribe button as well. Also, comment on the video. You might be featured on the next comment of the day, just like our buddy John was today. And if you want to check out a video Mark did yesterday, it'll be popping up on your screen right now. But as always, I've been your host, KC. Keep your stick on the ice.